Hi. Welcome back to In Studio Women in Sports Edition. Today we will be talking to Miss Sports Therapy herself, getting the background of how she got into it, how long she's been in it, what prompted her to become a sports therapist, and all the nitty-gritty details that y'all are interested in hearing. So, Shonnelle,
Hi, thanks for having me.
how did you become Miss Sports Therapy?
Miss Sports Therapy. Miss Sports Therapy was born from the time I was very young. Well, not Miss Sports Therapy. Shonnelle Trotman, the sports person, was birthed very young. I can remember my mom telling me that I always used to tell her, because she used to work in the office with cubicles. And we used to go there like after school, that kind of stuff. And I remember she used to tell me, even before I could know anything much about work and the life of work, one of the first things I told her is that I didn't want to work in the office later. Like, to me, that was so boring. So I think to work in sport was destined from very early. I guess what people would call a tomboy. I used to run around, play cricket, ride bicycles. I was decent at everything. And that's where it started.
Okay, so what sports were your favorite since you were decent at everything?
I had a love for football early on, but back then, like way back when I was a child, there wasn't much women in sport really. Track and field was the only sport really that in Barbados there were women excelling in. There wasn't really a big football program. Back then there wasn't a big cricket program. So I used to play those kind of sports with my cousins, during the summers and all of that. But it wasn't really any programs to get into. So I naturally fell into track and field. So I used to do sprints. I used to do 100-meter hurdles. Had a small stint at 400-meter hurdles. Would not recommend to anybody. Did not like that. From there, as I said, it was decent throughout school. From there, I went to college. I ran on the college circuit for a bit. Funny enough, because I went to St. Michael's School, went to Commonwealth for sixth form. At the end of sixth form, I was like, you know what, I'm done with this running. Really don't care for it. And I got accepted to a college overseas. And when I went, I ended up talking to the track coach, and he was like, well, we could give you a major cut in your tuition if you run. And I'm like, well, there's no choice. Like, we're running. We're running. We got another 4 years of this. Just buckle down and do it. After that, when I returned home, the women tournament, and that had what's the word I'm looking for? That had popped off when I was overseas. So now I had the chance to actually play with other girls playing the women's side, and I started playing football then. So track and field and football definitely are my two favorite sports, not only to, well, I ain't participating in track ever again, but to participate in and to watch and to even interact and treat the athletes.
Okay. You had said that you had come back from college and basically found a women's league. How is that going? Are you still active in it? How is that?
Yeah, we actually just finished up our season. They had the Women's Super League, which ended at the end of last year. So I am still playing. Actually, I told myself I would have retired by now. However, when COVID hit, because I play with UV Blackbirds, and at that point in time, the last tournament in 2018, we were two-time defending champions. And I said, well, I can play the last season so we could do the triple. And then COVID hit, and then football shut down. So when they had talk about it returning last year, I was like, maybe. So then they said, you know what, just go ahead, just do it. We played in the Women's Super League, which was a new out-of-season tournament. It was actually a lot of fun, and I think I got one more year in me.
So definitely not retiring.
Not yet, one more year.
All right, cool. We'll look out for you for sure. And now you have a whole fan group.
A full fan base. That
we
might not be a good thing. That might not be a good thing.
We are all gonna pull up and scream for you, so you can look out for that. Outside of that, though, what did you study in college? I know you had said that you did not want to work an office job. Truth be told, none of us want to work an office job. My manager sees this. I love it there. But none of us want to work office jobs. Did you go into college specifically set out not to do it? Or did you pick a degree and then you were like, you know what, let me try something else in like my second year?
Kind of sort of a bit of both, you know. So when I finished sixth form at Commonwealth, I had applied to UE, and then my parents brought this brochure, this form to fill out for a school overseas in upstate New York. At the point in time, I was like, yeah, whatever, just do it. And then I got accepted, and when I was looking at the programs compared to the programs at UE, I saw that they were serious about sending me off. I said, you know what, well, maybe I should just grab that by the horns. So, for example, if I went to UE, I would have just gone and done like management or something like that, just falling to place and fall in line. But I noticed they had a PE, they have physical education as one of the majors. I didn't even know about majoring in, you know, I was majoring in PE. So it started out as a PE major. To me, that was had to be the easiest thing. Right? I started out as a PE major, but then in about my second year, I was introduced to athletic training. Athletic training in the US is pretty much on site and on field. People that are on field are on site for the athletes at all time. So the athletic trainers at our school, they would set up the waters. They would be at the training sessions observing. If the athletes need to come in before training, we would get them strapped up. After training, we would get them in the ice bath and stuff like that. So I fell absolutely in love with that part of it. I was actually the student athletic trainer for 2 years or so. Most of my time there, I was the student athletic trainer. So not only was I participating in track and field, but in my off season, I was working in a treatment room. I was getting that experience. I was also engaging with a lot of the athletes as they would come and go. And I began to enjoy that so much that I started to search what I could do after. And that search led me to a field called, because I knew I wanted to work in sport. I knew I wanted to help athletes, but I knew I did not want to, I wanted to be very sport focused. So in as much as I could have done physiotherapy, I came across sports therapy and it just spoke to me. I said, this is what we're going to do. So I applied and I did my master's in Preston in the UK, University of Central Lancashire. I did my master's in sports therapy. I came back home and that's the end of it. Miss Sports Therapy 101.
So when you came home, did you immediately come straight to this, or did you work under other people, stuff like that?
When I came home, I actually did a bit of work for a little bit. You try to find stuff to keep you occupied until you can fall into where you can. So I started a bit at the Heart and Stroke Foundation, doing some exercises with people there. I was then introduced to Dr. Phyllis Burnett at the Warren's Physiotherapy Clinic. She, along with Kevin Williams, they really gave me my start in the field in Barbados, because at that time, I had a client base because I was involved in sports. I knew all the track athletes. I had a foot in football, so I knew the athletes, and I used to help the athletes. But I did not have a home base. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Burnett, she invited me to her clinic. Initially, she had me doing massages, and then as she saw my skill set, it started to expand. And I would see my athletes there. She gave me some of my first opportunities to travel with teams and stuff like that. And then Kevin, he was the physio with the women football team. So He used to work 2 days a week. I used to work one. We just used to work together. And then from there, he left the UE and I took over the program. So the two of them were very pivotal in who I am today. Kevin, to this day, I left Warrens, but now I work under Kevin. Well, we work alongside each other. If I have any questions, if I have an idea, but I think I don't want reassurance, but I want to know, is there a better way I could do that? I could call Kevin, I could message Kevin and be like, yeah, is this what you would do? Is there another way? So I truly appreciated having those role models per se, because it's one thing to learn in class, but then to get in the clinic, get on the field and actually do the work is completely different.
Very, very true. You also mentioned that you travel with teams, because I know that you work very closely with a lot of athletes in Barbados, but you do travel with teams. Recently, I saw you go to the Commonwealth Games. How was that for you?
Oh, that was such a great experience. So the Commonwealth Games, that was the first time they were having women T20 cricket. So this would have been the first time that Barbados not only would have been competing, but competing as Barbados. Usually is West Indies, but the Commonwealth Games represent the country. So it was very, very amazing. It was great to feel one part of history, because it says the first team to ever do it, but also it allowed me to where I had not worked with cricket since maybe like 2013, 2014. So it was good to link back up with those ladies. A lot of them, they were younger in their career and they were more mature. So it was definitely good vibes, very good vibes. The girls, the cricket, the coaching staff, the management staff, it was good vibes. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's fantastic. So, I know you work a lot with athletes, but do you work with the regular joke and like a random person just be like, you know what? I am my foolish self went playing badminton with my little cousin and no, I can't move my shoulder.
Yes.
Do I come to you?
Yes, you most definitely can. So maybe I should give the difference between the sports therapist and the physio, because that's where a lot of people tend to get confused, and sometimes people use the names interchangeably. But a physiotherapist, and a sports therapist. So a physiotherapist, they do a lot more than a sports therapist will do. So a physio, they are trained in many aspects of like day-to-day functional life and rehab and stuff like that. So they do the neurological aspects. They do stuff like chest, when people are have mucus on their chest. They have a vast what you would call it, a vast list of things that they do. The word is not coming to me right now. All right, but a sports therapist focuses mostly on musculoskeletal injuries really involving the muscles and the skeletons. Skeleton. That's one. Right, so the ankle sprains, the shoulder dislocations, the lower back tightness, any kind of tightness, any kind of mobility. So yes, we do work with athletes and trying to get them back to full functional capacity on the field. But we also work with the average Joe to get them back to whatever paddleboarding or badminton or whatever their day-to-day activity they want to get back into.
Okay. Stemming from that, we've all seen the... I don't even know what to call it. One day I was on Twitter and I saw, hi.
The mobility videos?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I tell you, People love them. I had a friend message me the other day. He's in the gym. It was like Christmas Eve. And he's like, well, after the gym, I'm going to go do sports therapy thing. I'm like, Percy, why are you in the gym?
On
It's
Christmas Eve?
Eve.
Exactly.
He's like, nah, too many people in my house cooking. I am out. But it's really been helping a lot of people. I know many people do not have the option or the ability to reach out to you. That's not true. They can't reach out. But it's been so good for so many people. Why did you do it? Especially free, because I'm not dogging anybody. But sometimes, you know, there's advice that a doctor will give you, but the doctor will give you in the office. And that's like borderline in office. So like, how come?
The how come is I like people to understand the methodology behind the things that they're doing.
Okay.
All right. I find a lot of the times people will come to me and I'll ask them what their doctor say, and they'll say, oh, you know, they use all the big words. For me, the big words are all fine and well in an environment where I'm with like minds. But when I'm speaking to the average Joe coming in on the street, they're not going to know what a semi-membranosus is. Not only do they not know, they do not care.
Very true.
Okay? And in order to get them to buy into what I want them to do or what I have them to do, I need to break it down as simple as possible so that they can understand and then refer to it later on. So I try to incorporate that a lot in the clinic, and I find doing those videos helps me and it challenges me to break down things in its simplest form for digestion for my clients when they do come. So it helps them, well, it helps me, because it helps me to be better at what I do, and it helps them by them staying mobile and them being active. And I honestly did not realize how big it had grown until I was walking in the office in Warren's recently, and I bought the corner, and this guy, he was talking to the lady, and he was like, yeah, and she has been doing all she exercises. And I'm like, me? He's like, yeah, why you look confused? I said, because sir, I don't know you. He said, sports therapy, right? At that time, I didn't have on any sports therapy gear or anything. I was just in regular clothes. And he was like, yeah, that's a good thing. And it was in that moment I realized, you know what? This has a reach that I myself have not yet processed how big it is.
Yeah.
I think people just enjoy it being broken down to them.
Yeah.
So they can understand it and digest it in smaller bits.
It's true. Like, very simple things help. I remember when I was younger and I was trying to figure out how to squat, because as far as I'm concerned, I just bend it down.
Yeah, you just bend it
in a street.
Yeah.
I just bend it down. And one day, coach, I'm gonna say coach, but don't think I'm an athlete, because no. But a coach of mine said, imagine you're sitting. I'm like, okay. Then he was like, so remove the thing from under you and still continue to sit. And that was a whole different feeling.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, these do hurt. That's crazy. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, it just takes having the patience to break it down and explain to people.
Yeah.
Because everybody is not going to care or know what the patella is. But if I tell them your kneecap is what is hurting, they know where the kneecap is, and they can fully relate to the kneecap. The top of the kneecap, the bottom of the kneecap, behind the kneecap. Break it down. Yes, you can use the words to explain to later, but 100% of the time, I am telling you, people just care for understanding at their level.
And connecting.
Yeah.
It's true. Your baby now that we have to discuss in studio. How did In Studio come about? It is a brilliant idea. There have been interviews that you have done that I was like, oh, for real? Truly shocked at what went down, how it went down, how people got into things. Even like, I had no idea that some people, like even Spinny, I did not know he was a cricketer, but I don't really know Spinny that well. And it was good to see that personalities that we have come to know had like a childhood,
and
everybody had a childhood,
a
but
career,
a career in a
career
sport.
before,
Like they weren't just like, you look at him and you'd be like, oh, he's dating gym every day.
Yeah.
But like, why did he get there? Like, how did he get there? Did he just randomly look in the mirror and was like, I got 150, let me go in the gym. So like it was really eye-opening for us as a public. But how did you decide? Was it a apple on head?
I'm so glad to hear that. It was something I wanted to do, something along that lines for a long time, be it a blog or something like that, but I did not know how to attack it. I really, really didn't know. I didn't give you any backstory, uncut. Right? So I really didn't know. So my issue is I find that the media in Barbados does a disservice to our athletes 9 times out of 10. All right. I'm not saying that they're there to coddle them. Yes, they have a job to do, but they also do a lot of things for clickbait and not necessarily to help the development of this sport. So in seeing that, there was a particular instance where we had an athlete who retired, and the headline, after she posted the most beautiful retirement message, thanks to Barbados, national record holder, all of this, the most beautiful message, the papers, I'm going to say, it was Shade quick strap or something like that. And in that moment, I was like, this young lady has given so much to Barbados. She has given so much to country. And for you to equate her retirement in such an eloquent way to just quitting. Yes, first of all, quitting and retiring are two different things. All right? But then what happens to the young athlete reading that and thinking about, if Shade is Barbados national record holder, if Shade went to Worlds, if Shade went to Carifta, if Shade went to all these places and she can quit, who am I that I am not even half as good as she? What I can give up now to? All right, so I feel like they're very irresponsible. So in that moment, I decided, you know what? Because I spoke to Shade also, and she didn't like it. She was very offended by it. And in that moment, I had an idea. It was around just coming out of COVID. I had done this nice little studio area, and I said, you know what? What if we created this safe space where athletes can come and athletes can tell their story? Because the media isn't going to tell you everything. The media isn't going to tell you that they went on tour, they weren't fed, transportation was late, they didn't have the facilities that they were expecting, but they still performed. They still made it to finals. They will never tell you that. And I find there's a disconnect where is usually the athlete to the papers. The papers do whatever they need to sensationalize it for the public, and then the public reads that. But when I tell them to come in here, this is a safe space, we can talk, we can open up. Then you hear the stories of how Jonathan Jones last year in the series, the Pro Series, said he was coerced into track and field. Joe Fra thought he was going to be a footballer. Like, there's so many stories that we know here when we get them in a comfortable space where they can open up. They don't feel as though they're being hounded for a story. They don't feel as though they have to be on their guard because what they're going to say is going to be twisted and used against them.
And these stories directly from them, so
exactly.
There's no misconstruction.
Directly from the horse's mouth.
Exactly.
So I've got a lot of great feedback from the viewing public and the athletes themselves. So I am very happy about that.
I'm happy about it as well. It has been very interesting watch. I don't know if it's my major malicious just to see what's going on. But it definitely has been.
You know?
Yeah.
I want you, the public, to know what's going on with our athletes. Because we know about Jonathan. We hear about Jonathan when there's Worlds. We hear about Jonathan when there's Olympics. We may hear when he goes to nationals at college. But outside of that, we don't necessarily hear them. So it also is to keep you up to date.
I like it, and I also like previous seasons touch different things, and I like how coming seasons cough will touch other
Other
things.
things, yes.
So it has been very interesting, eye-opening, enlightening to athletes. We, the people of Barbados and beyond, would really love for you to keep it top.
I will. I will. I have a lot of ideas. I have so many ideas. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. If anything, we're gonna pick it up.
Fantastic. We talk about it and we go through it like you realize or you knew, and I'm not an athlete. Can I say that with my chest? I can. I'm not an athlete. I have attempted athletics in my thoughts. Like I really wanted to be good, and
Yeah, it takes a different mindset.
it does.
It really
It
does.
does.
And then when you put all that work out there for next to nothing most of the time, then to see those at home just dragging you or telling you, well, you made a finals, you almost brought. No, you made a finals, you brought the record, but their focus is you didn't medal. I was like, come on, like I just ran the fastest anybody in Barbados has ever run in their life. Like,
And like,
what you really saying?
it's a lot of hard work.
It is a lot of hard work.
Really hard on the body and
On the mental too.
on the mental. It's crazy, and especially because a lot of our athletes have had to leave the country. Not being around your support system, it is not the same.
It's very different.
Yeah, but we thank you so much for all the hard work that you're putting in. We look forward to seasons to come. I heard from a birdie that you may have a revisit of somebody.
Yeah, they've been begging, so we'll keep that on the rocks for now, but we'll definitely bring them back in.
Thank you, Shonnelle, for coming into your in studio.
Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. We look forward to seeing you in the future, and we look forward to great things from in studio.
Thank you very much. Hi. My name is Shonnelle Trotman, owner of Sports Therapy 101, director and founder of In Studio with Sports Therapy. I was just in studio with Sports Therapy 101.